Hey, I'm Dadler.
And I'm Alex, and welcome to the first MISC category in this series, namely all races. To start, you once again have to load the given save file available on speedrun.com or on the GTA V speedrunning Discord, both linked in the description. But before you do that, you should first load into Prologue once to remove the waves. You will see later why this is important. You also want to make sure that Franklin's special ability is filled up. You can easily do this using the power up cheat code. This category is the only one where you have to start the timer manually the moment you load in from the loading screen. We start the category off by jumping once and then running towards the conveniently placed buffalo in front of Franklin's house. And we are instantly off for one of the hardest strats in the entire category. For this jump you really have to practice a lot. For my lineup, I power once before this bush and then use it as a reference point. Then I jump through the bush and down to the third way jump. However, do not go straight here. You want to jump left into the street here. Knowing how to manipulate your car's weight with Franklin's ability in the right spot is really important here. After a successful landing, and there won't be many of those, you drive off to the first street race. You can get up to massive speeds using brake boosts just like I used them. Be aware that you can still fly out your windshield really easily on this part, if you were to crash. You can also rate how good your starting jump was by looking at the time when you enter the first street race. Spam E to enter the race without hitting any pedestrians, or cars, or poles. Starting the race you want to skip the cutscene, which can only be done using the enter key for some reason. You want to get the quick start by pressing W just as it turns to go. Then do a series of 2 powered curb boosts with attempted brake boosts. And then 1 powered brake boost on the intersection. You need to be really lucky to not hit any other racers, as they can sometimes spin each other out. You take a wide turn and then brake boost on this slope to get up to insane speeds. As you saw on the last turn, the checkpoints for the racers have a rather big radius. However, don't go too far, as missing one checkpoint will probably ruin your whole run. There will always be a car spawning in the oncoming lane that you want to avoid. Also pick up another brake boost. Now we have arrived at the hardest part of this race. These tight streets make it really hard. Dadala, don't you know?
Oh god, don't remind me. I said not.
You want to maximize the speed in this corner with powering a maximum of 1 or 2 times. For the next tight turn, making the car slide as fast as you can bump off the wall on the exit. And then just carry your speed through. Do not power too much as this loses you too much time. Staying right of the pole here grants another brake boost in a more direct line to line yourselves up for another hard jump. For that you have to hold the power long on this bump here. With that speed you need to fly straight to perfectly land on this slope in the road. To control the landing I would suggest powering for it. Sadly traffic can screw you over really bad here and there is nothing you can do about it while being mid-air. The tight section of the beach area makes the car unstable, but you only need to power once on every turn. Cutting left of the pole here grants us a good brake boost to either have great speed or prepare us for the next brake boost. Use the porthole here to get up to massive speed again, and now keep your speed. Make sure to power once before actually going for the brake boost. You can either go left or right of the grass patch here to trigger this checkpoint. If you go to the left, you have a better angle and more brake boosts you can get. Stay close to the grass patch to actually trigger the checkpoint though. This left turn is quite tricky as the grass patch will most likely get you flung in the air. The best way to avoid this is as I do here. Attack it at a less aggressive angle. This turn is tricky as well as you gain your last bit of speed before the finish straight. You do a powered brake boost mid-turn that can easily spin you out. On this last turn you need 2 brake boosts to basically fly into the finish line. As there is no auto splitter for this category, yet, we need to manually split whenever you hear the race finishing sound.
Now we are in an unskippable cutscene. Theoretically, you can avoid this by not being first in the race and make Franklin continue driving. But we haven't found a way to make this actually faster yet. So we start now from a standstill. To get up to speed, we do a mid-drive. The next race is an off-road race, which will be reached just by following the road up through Vinewood. Traffic is notoriously bad on this part of the city. From here on, it is basically the route of Lamar Down's first drive until the jump, where you then take a left turn instead of following the road. On the next left turn, you might be tempted to cut left to the pole. Don't do that though, as this will make you fly off the hill. The best car to get on this off-road race is the Injection, followed by the Rebel and the Mesa. Enter the race while pressing E. If you got any other car, you will lose up to 20 seconds. This is not run ending, however. For the start, once again do the quick start and try to avoid the other racers, as crashing into them will lose you up to 5 seconds. If you got any other car than the Injection, you can use brake boost to save some time still. The Injection is faster than any other off-road vehicle, but it is not capable of brake boosting. As you might be able to see already, all races is one of the most technical categories out there. It takes a lot of practice to get everything right, and you also have to pay a lot of attention to the driving part. You want to take a shortcut here to have a more direct line. When you finish the race, once again, you have to split manually.
Now we get to one of the many hangouts in this run. After the race you pull up your phone and call Trevor for a hangout. Then switch to Trevor and back to Franklin, as he will now be warped to the hangout spot and he will also be in his beautiful Buffalo. Now do a mid-drive brake boost combo. The brake boosts after this turn are really important, as there are only minor brake boosts that you can take to maintain speed. You need to carry the speed all the way through. You can manipulate the spawns on the next intersection with your camera so that they won't block you. However, I found this to be a bit inconsistent. The next race is the Quarry race. This race is time of day dependent, so if you've died before you cannot progress here. Jump far into the quarry pit so that you don't crash into any rocks, and trigger the race by spamming E. You have the possibility of either getting an ATV or a Sanchez dirt bike here. Time-wise they are pretty similar, with the ATV having the advantage that Franklin's power affects it. The Sanchez is not affected by it at all. The best times from the current world record with Sanchez and ATV are just 2 seconds apart. With the Sanchez you don't want to cut this turn here, as you cannot turn sufficiently enough. The usual bike mechanics apply to the Sanchez. Hold control for being faster and hold shift to make sharper turns. I have the two, shift and control, swapped for my own personal preference, so they will also appear swapped on the keyboard overlay, but by default they are like explained. Once again, remember to manually split on the race finishing sound.
After the cutscene, you want to turn around instantly. There will always be either a Sanchez or an ATV spawned here. You want to take that and drive out of the quarry. There's some more RNG here, as sometimes some angry NPC can spawn here. However, if you are fast enough, they don't have enough time to pull you off your vehicle. With the ATV and the Sanchez you will take the same route, but the ATV can get up to huge speeds by brake boosting in the right spots. You want to already be looking in the general direction of the race the whole time to guarantee yourself a second car spawning in. you know that there will be a second car spawned on this intersection if NPCs are already spawned in. As Alex didn't look sufficiently enough into that general direction, there won't be NPCs spawning on this intersection there, and therefore also no second car. When you get to the race, you either spam E to instantly start the race if you have one of the top 3 cars, and if not and the second spawned car is one of the 3, get into that and then just start the race. If you do not have any of the 3 good cars, you will automatically lose up to a minute. Once again, start with the race start boost and make sure to not crash into any other racer. Then, jump over this hill here for a nice shortcut. If you do not power to land quicker, for example in the injection, you will miss the checkpoint however. I guess now it's the time to make sure that you like the video and subscribe if you haven't already, for more speedrun related content in the future. Also, make sure to subscribe to Alex's channel, linked in the description, same as to leave a follow on his and my Twitch channel. Once again in this race, apart from the injection, you can always make up some speed with brake boosts. Actually, curb boosts from the side of the road also really help. You can trigger the 2 checkpoints on this hairpin simultaneously if you take the exact line that Alex takes here. As always, you manually split once you hear the race finishing sound.
Now, depending on if you took the second car or not, you will spawn either with the second car that you had in the race, or you have to run to the ATV or Sanchez that you entered the race in. If you can, do a mid-drive to get up to speed. Our next destination is one of the helicopters from the parachuting activities. Park next to the passenger side door, leave your vehicle and steal the helicopter. Take off and then fly towards the first sea race of the run.
Up in the back! Let's do this, alright?
You want to aim for this ledge and dive out just as you pass between the 2 trees. Open your parachute and aim for the sea shark. Even attempting to land on the sea shark and failing by ragdolling is still faster than landing further away in the water. In the best case scenario, you land on top of the sea shark and instantly enter it. Then press E to start the race. Now once again do the quick start. You may have noticed that there are no waves on the ocean. That is because we run on patch 1.27, where waves are removed after playing a mission. That is why we loaded into Prologue before even loading the save file. Without the waves, holding control and not doing too sharp turns makes us drive the Sea Shark at the maximum speed. For this entire race you do not want to throw too many other racers off the Sea Shark, as this can fail the race. Other than that, it's just doing easy turns and not lose any speed and to cut the checkpoints as much as possible. For the end, once again remember to manually split with the race finishing sound.
After the race pass screen, you want to instantly pull up your phone to call Trevor once again for a hangout. If you get really unlucky, a racer that turns around after the finish line will hit you and knock you off your C-Shark, ending your run right there as you cannot call Trevor for a hangout again. However, this is really rare. After Trevor picks up the phone, you instantly hang up on him, switch to Trevor and then switch back to Franklin again, warping him to the hangout spot. From there, you turn around and enter the beach race at the Alamo Sea. You have to be careful to not crash into the racers as this will disrupt the race. This race has a huge respawning radius, so this will lose you upwards to a minute. Once again, we can spawn with either the Sanchez or the ATV, with the Sanchez being the faster option by 5 seconds. This is a rather short race, therefore the difference in time, once again, is not too high. However, you need to watch out with the ATV to avoid any bushes in your way, as it can easily get spun out by them, losing you time in the process.
Make sure to avoid these bushes as they will force the ATV to do a wheelie, and if you don't react quickly enough you can fall off of it and die, killing the run.
Buddy, how about yourself? Yo!
From here on we need to cross the road and instantly get into the Buffalo. Once again do a mid-drive brake boost combo on the side of the bridge here to get up to huge speed. The car can get really tricky to control in this section as the brake boosts that we take usually all happen while turning. It is important to carry a lot of speed around the corner here as you need speed to get this brake boost. We are now on our way to the second hardest jump in the run. You turn onto this bridge and then line yourselves up for the Lighthouse stunt jump. You don't want to trigger the actual stunt jump though, as this will despawn the race and end the run right here. Line yourselves up just left of the stunt jump here to fly down to the race. Sometimes you might spin out a bit, but you can just fix that using air control. And even if you can't fix it, you just land in the water anyways. If you end up hitting a sea shark, the race will despawn. Climb aboard the sea shark and start the race. Do the quick start once again. Now do the same thing as before in the sea race. Keep holding control and cut wherever you can and don't try to lose too much while turning. This sea shark race is the longest, so I will speed it up a bit while I tell you about the story of this category. Because this category is actually quite new. All Races was originally a routing challenge hosted by Rello for the community to see who could find the fastest route to complete all races. This challenge was hosted in August 2022 and included a $265 prize pool. The first run was also completed by Rello with a time of 52:19. After a month of competition, Ryol ended up being the winner with a time of 41:17. And he has since improved his time down to a 39:31, which is where the record stands today. At the end, once again remember to split on the race end sound.
Once again, you don't want to move now. Pull up your phone instantly and call Michael for a hangout. Switch to Michael and then switch back to Franklin again. This beginning part here is really important to get, as there are no more other brake boost opportunities on this drive. Do a mid drive and then do a big powered brake boost. Keeping the speed on this drive is really important, as every single brake boost that you could theoretically go for on this drive is not worth it, as it will most likely throw you either into the Alamo Sea or cause a huge crash. For the next race, you spam E to enter while arriving. Once again, you will have the chance of either getting an ATV or the Sanchez. In this race it does not make a difference which one you get, as it's mostly straights with some bumps to get brake boosts off of. However, you need to watch out where you take your brake boosts, as too much speed easily becomes uncontrollable in the ATV. The last part, however, is really beneficial for the ATV, as you can use Franklin's special ability. Once again, remember to split on the race and sound.
Now for one of the most interesting ways to spawn a race. When you spawn in, run towards the buffalo, but instead of entering it, you enter and exit director mode via the interaction menu. This makes the race spawn despite you still being within the despawn radius. Now you enter the buffalo and drive towards the next race, which is only like 2 seconds away. Spam E to enter it. For the last time now you have to deal with bike RNG. Although this race is mostly straight, the Sanchez is about 7 seconds faster. The tight nature of this track doesn't allow for big brake boosts, which is where the ATV loses the most time. The Sanchez is just faster here while doing a wheelie. Make sure to not cut the checkpoints too much here, as they are very likely to not trigger.
Oh, you shitting me, right? Bye now.
On this last downhill part, however, you can cut the track a lot as there are no checkpoints. For the finish, once again remember to split.
After the race, you spawn across the street from Franklin's Buffalo. Get into that while watching out to not get run over by any other racers. Then do a mid-drive to get up to speed quickly. The next race is the worst sea race of them all. Jump into the water with your car while trying to avoid any sea sharks. Get out of the Buffalo and onto the sea shark. Press E then to start the race.
That hurt.
This race is really bad for keeping speed, as the water is so shallow that you often bump into rocks, losing speed in the process. The best way to go about this race is to follow the exact way Alex drives through the rapids. On this part you will always bump up as the map just does not load in quickly enough. You can still drive through the bug part of the map though. For the end of the race, get ready by selecting a C4 as we will kill ourselves after the race. Remember to split on the race end sound and then kill yourself after the cutscene.
After killing yourselves, you spawn in at the hospital in the city. Now we have to do the only really precise hangout warp. There is also a chance for random rain here. You can instantly call Trevor once you respawn, but make sure to only put down the phone once you are in the correct spot. I personally use this T on the map here to line myself up. As I said, this hangout is really precise. Positioning yourselves only a few centimeters too far away can put you at a different hangout spot on the other side of the city. Depending on which bad hangout spot you get, you might lose up to a minute. Switch to Trevor and then switch back to Franklin. Do a mid-drive and then head into the sewers. Make sure to not gain too much speed in the sewers as you might crash into the bridge, but enough speed that you fly far enough to the race. Swim the rest of the way, get on the Seashark and press E to start the race. In this race, once again, you just want to follow good racing lines and keep your speed at a maximum. Once again, I will speed this up. At the end, remember to split manually once again.
After the cutscene, instantly call Michael for a hangout without moving. Switch to Michael, switch back to Franklin, and once again get up to massive speed with a mid-drive. This is basically the casing drive, but backwards. Only this time, you have Franklin's power available. This is actually the reason why Franklin is used for every single race. Also, as his driving stats are maxed out. Arriving now to another time of day dependent race. You enter it by spamming E without slowing down. Get the quick start and pick up brake boosts along the way. This is the first race that has 2 laps. Important for this race is that you are gentle with turning and do not spin out on this exact checkpoint. I already mentioned that this race is time of day dependent earlier. In fact, all of the street races as well as the Quarry race are time of day dependent. They only spawn between 8 PM and 5 AM. This has actually led to the save file that we use for this category changing a couple of times to allow for more possible routes and for faster runs. Because if we hadn't changed it, we would have needed to wait for time of day to pass, which would have removed grinding for faster race times, as the save time would have just been spent waiting later. Remember to once again split.
Now for a certified hood classic. Literally. The next race is the very first race in the 100% speedrun during House, Strangers and Freaks mission, which unlocks all the other races. It is across the street from Franklin's first safe house. Obviously watch out for any traffic as flying out the windshield by crashing is likely as you're not in a mission or a race. As always, get the start boost. Make sure not to brake boost on this hill here, as you would get too much speed and wouldn't be able to handle the car at all. This race also has 2 laps. Contrary to the Hando runs, you don't need to stop at the finish. Once again, make sure to split manually at the race end sound.
Now we are off to the airport race. You can cut through the fences here on the right, although it doesn't really save time and might spin you out. Make sure to go into the oncoming lane of traffic so that you can get the exit ramp going straight to the race. Again, enter the race at full speed by spamming E. Get the quick start and make sure to not do any brake boosts while turning in this race, as every single one you attempt will cost you time. You might remember that this race needs $1,000 as an entry fee. Would be a shame if you only had $19 then. Once again, this race has 2 laps. This is a race with more obvious brake boosting spots. Make sure to use them. Apparently, you can also lap cars in this race somehow. At the end, once again remember to manually split.
Now, for one last time, call a hangout with Michael. Switch to Michael and then back to Franklin. Now you want to look out for a bike. Any bike will do, even a scooter. You can get them spawned literally everywhere here. In my case I got quite lucky as there was one right on the way to the race. Steal that and then enter the last race, the legendary Vespucci bike race. Once you enter the race by pressing E, get ready to not instantly start the race if you don't have either a Bati, an Akuma or a Hakuchu. If you have any of those three, just start the race like usual. If not, get off the bike instantly and kick another racer's bike. This will fail the race, which will reset your bike to a Bati. Then you can start the race. This race is the hardest of all races. Often one crash is enough to instantly kill you. Still, you need to be quick. You have to experiment with where you can or want to do a wheelie and where not. These jumps are hell, as there can sometimes be a car perfectly behind one with no chance to dodge it. Don't wheelie while going through this shopping street here. Instead lean forward. There are so many small bumps here that wheeling will make you fly. Fly into the nearest building, that is. Really important, however, is that you brake for this last corner, as you will definitely overshoot it and die if you don't. Also slow down for the first bridge jump, because if you go too fast you might hit either the pole on the left or the house on the right. Especially on the last lap this is very bad, because it will always end in you losing the race. It's especially bad at the end of a 100% run. Especially at the end of a 100% run on WR pace. Around here is the area where you are no longer allowed to fall off, because if you do, you will no longer be able to catch up to your opponents. And now, for one last time, manually split to finish the run. Thank you very much for watching. We hope that you enjoyed the tutorial and found it helpful. If so, leave a like and subscribe to Daedalus and my YouTube channel, to not miss any more speedrunning related content in the future. Till then, later!